Hello, this is my video to demonstrate patterns I can identify off of the key lines, and if so, stop loss that possibly I would be able to find. So for the first pattern we see here over to the left, I am thinking that I see a railroad here with these two candles. And if so, since that is a railroad, when this candle were to close, depending on what I'm seeing in a different time frame, if it's supporting the pattern, I'm going to be trying to do a trade, put in a trade here, a sell trade right about there when the start of this candle starts opening and confirm my down pattern. So with that being said, if that's going to be where I'm starting here, then my stop loss is going to be at the previous candle, at the top of the previous candle. So stop loss would be up here. If this was true that I got in here, stop loss I'm assuming is at the previous candle. The big top of 3 to 5 pips above that candle should be where my stop loss is. Taking this possibly down to the next zone with a TP theoretically at the first zone that it should bounce off of. So that's my first pattern that I think I have identified. Okay, and I'm back after checking my patterns a little bit here. And since we've identified, if we want to talk about this pattern here that forms right at the start of this particular zone, this does look like a morning star. The pattern doesn't hold up. So not sure I would initially think it's possibly a morning star, but again, it doesn't quite hold up. So not totally confident on that. I wouldn't think it was strong. Now this I would say again is another railroad pattern. This is a bearish railroad, just like this one was a bearish railroad. So I would expect that pattern to continue in a bearish direction, which it appears to be supporting that. So with that pattern, if I was to take a trade again, I would be taking a fail if I were to do that. And that would be at the start of this candle. And my stop loss would be again at the top of this candle, 3 to 5 pips away. Again, if I were to take that trade. And if I was to put a TP, I would probably have my TP down here. Looks like it may not hit it because it didn't wick all the way down. But if I were to do that off of this candle, that would be where I would have a TP. All right, let me take a look at a couple more patterns and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back to identify these two candles hitting the actually coming off of this zone and starting a new zone down here apparently. So this again is a railroad and it's a bearish railroad. So if I were to have this pattern, this candle close and it supported my direction in another time zone, theoretically, I may want to get into a trade right here when this candle starts opening and forming and confirming my down pattern. So if that were the case, then I would have my stop loss over here on top of the wick here, 3 to 5 pips away that way. So again, I would get in here, enter here. If I were to do, I'm expecting, depending on the touches here, one, two, three, I'm probably expecting a rejection, well, a continuation here, depending on how many touches. So I might have my TP here. It just depends if I think that it's going to actually go through that particular zone and try to retest and continue below, which it does. So depending on the touches, I'm going to be anticipating possibly that This is going to break through that zone because it's the third touch. So that's something I probably would watch to see if I want to actually have a TP there versus just watching that particular trade. So that is one there. So are we back? Okay, I am back to try to identify this pattern. I decided not to clear this stuff off in case you guys wanted to see where I had identified anything here. And I'll put an R there for railroad. I'll put an R there for railroad. So this is pretty big. So I'm going to think it's a bearish engulfing versus the railroad. So with that being said, at some point, if it's a bearish engulfing, I am generally going to think that direction is going to turn around. I think the more I look at it, it's not. I think this may be a harami. It just is looking more harami-ish to me, a bearish. It's harami, and I'm thinking it's what's changing the trend and making it go bullish. So I'm going to say that that pattern that I'm looking at is a harami pattern, and it's a bullish harami pattern because it's changing the direction, I do believe. So that's what I'm thinking here. So when this closes, if I'm thinking it's a harami and I'm thinking it's going to change direction, I want to put a buy in and maybe wait for this to close, maybe even wait to see what this candle does. If I don't wait for this to close to confirm the harami and that I think it's going to be a slight bullish trend going up, then what I'm going to do is wait for this candle to close and wait for this next one to start to kind of confirm some sort of pattern going up. Otherwise, I will wait for this one to close, get in, trust that it's going to go up. So if that was the case, very big stop loss here. Not really a good one, but that would be the stop loss if I got in here and trusted that and do a buy and trusted that that pattern is going to change and come back and go up for me to at least go up here, possibly up to the next zone here where I will be trying to have a TP up here somewhere. Again, if this is truly my harami, if not, it would the bearish engulfing and I would think it would turn bearish. But the pattern I'm seeing is I would think that it's going to be a harami and it's going to go up. So that's what I would call on it. Okay, I am back to identify this next pattern that I see here. And again, I do think this is also a railroad. And I think it's a bullish railroad. So I would be expecting this trend to turn around and go up, and it actually does. But that's what I would see here. So when this candle here closes, I would either be waiting or ready to jump in here as soon as that next candle starts forming. And at this point, then I will be doing a buy. So my stop loss would be at this candle here. If I get in here, it would be this candle. So my stop loss would be down here for this particular order going up. My stop loss would be down here. So I'm gonna make sure I did the right thing. Your stop loss would be down here. So wherever it was getting in here, my stop loss would have been down here. I don't know if I said that. But if I waited for this candle over here to close, thinking that I got a this closing, I think I got a harami pattern that's going to take me up. I will be getting in here. Stop loss will be at the previous candle, very, very low, not that one. It would be here. Because I don't want it to trace back too bad. But it probably would get me here. And then I will be looking at a TP going up. I may just drop that stop loss even lower because this is a pretty long wick. So going back to this pattern, again, that's my railroad hitting the key line, my bullish railroad. So if I'm thinking, it's going to go up, as soon as the next candle opens and starts forming, I'm jumping in. At that point, my stop loss is going to be this previous candle here. So stop loss is going to be down here, 3 to 5 pips below that candle, doing a buy there. Then I'm going to let this ride up, theoretically, up here to that zone, and that TP is going to be up there. Again, 3 to 5 pips away. Okay, best guess. Okay, best guess I can say about these guys going up. This definitely is another railroad, and it's a bearish railroad. Then we got the three, I think they call them three white soldiers versus black soldiers. Anyway, that's supposed to be three white soldiers. Anyway. All right, so taking it up, the next pattern. If I was to look at this candle here, where this is a railroad, it doesn't hit the key line, but it's coming down. If I saw that railroad there and saw something in a different time period to say, that's a pattern that's going up, even before I saw my soldiers. I could wait as soon as I saw this particular candle forming and confirming my up pattern, put an order in here. Stop loss would be 3 to 5 below that candle. Taking it up, and again, I would either be taking it up to the next zone, or knowing that it touched 3 times, not having a TP there and letting it ride up possibly to this particular zone. So I'll probably have a TP like up there, not anticipating that it's going to automatically break that next zone too. So again, not sure if this is a 30-minute, where these zones are, but that's kind of an idea of what I would do. So I'm going to clear this up a little bit. It's starting to get a little crowded. So you guys see the patterns that I've identified so far. Let me go ahead and clear this chart real quick to make it a little easier for me to keep going. Cool things, it's clear. So now if I'm going up here to, those are my white soldiers. So if I'm going up here to this next pattern that I'm seeing, again, this little formation here could be a harami also. Don't think it's a railroad. I do think it's a harami. This is my railroad, and it's a bearish railroad. So my thought is that yes, it's going to continue down because it's a bearish railroad. So at this point, once this candle closed, and again, there's some confirmation that I got the right direction going down, I'm going to be putting an order in here. So if I'm putting my order in here, my stop loss is going to be above the wick of this particular candle, the previous candle, again, 3 to 5 pips away. So I would have this, and chances are, again, not sure if I would put an order in and have it going to this first zone. More than likely, it would be TPing down here. Not sure what this is, but if it's closing here and it's starting here, it's probably going to be really close to the zone. So, and we see multiple touches, 1, 2, 3. So I'm saying it's going down. So I'm not going to put my TP at this first particular zone. I'm expecting it to pass through the zone. So at the very least, I'm probably going to put my TP here. So that would be the way I would go with that. Okay, I see another little pattern here off of this particular key line. I would say that is a morning star pattern. Let me back up here because I probably missed these over here. So this is probably, it looks more like a bullish engulfing. So I would again expect that trend to go up. Bullish engulfing. So I will be waiting to see what happens. Then it closes. I would probably wait and not do anything here to see what that next candle is going to be. So when I saw that additional bullish and now that railroad there, so I'm going to say, I'm probably going to look for a trend to go up. So if I'm going up to the next particular candles that I see bouncing off of this zone here, that's probably another railroad, and it's a bearish railroad. So I would expect some sort of bearish activity at least until we see what the next pattern is. And it does kind of dip down a little bit. So if it closed and I said, okay, this next one, I probably would not get in there. I would be a little hesitant depending on what I saw in the previous time period. But if I did, and if I got in there, or I would wait to see this one starting to open. Once I see it starting to open and giving me a bearish direction, then I would jump in right here. Then my stop loss would be above this particular candle, 3 to 5 wicks above this candle, because I wouldn't want it to trace back up too far above that candle. So again, so coming on down, coming on down. And if it keeps coming, I would expect it to hit this zone and reject. So maybe TP will be down here. Okay. Let's guess on it. Okay, coming back, picking back up here. If I think this is a morning star, simply because that pattern goes up. If it's not, it's a parameter giving us a bullish pattern up. And then we got again, you got your 3 white soldiers going up there. Soldiers. Okay, so that'll take us up, and then we hit another morning star pattern possibly here. And if I was to get in anywhere, I'm going to clear this up a little bit. If I was to get in anywhere here, I would again wait for this candle to close. Once I see this close and give me my railroad, because that is a railroad pattern again, I will be waiting to see if I can get an uptrend, because the thought is this is going to continue to go up. When I saw this candle opening bullish, I would be getting in here. So my stop loss would be down here. So I don't want it to trace back up too far down. The stop loss is down here at this previous candle, so below 3 to 5 below that wick. Let it trace up. Hopefully it doesn't trace back down, but if it's going to keep going up for me, I would have my TP dependent on here. Again, dependent on the touches, dependent on the zone. If not there, I will take it up to this particular zone and have a TP there. The pattern that we see at the top here looks like could be another railroad going in the opposite direction, a bearish again. So I will be waiting for that candle to close. That also could be a engulfing as well, a bullish engulfing. So I'm thinking it's probably a railroad though. That's probably my best guess. So I'm going to call it a railroad. And then that's going to denote the pattern is going to go down. So from that point, I would be looking to wait for that candle to close, wait for this next candle to open and confirm my down pattern. Jump in here, stop loss is going to be up here, 3 to 5. Ride this down to at least this zone. Probably have a TP there, to be quite honest, I probably would. So I will have a TP at this point to take me out of that possibly, because it's going to the next zone. The next set of candles I see over here again is another railroad, but this is a bullish railroad. I would think it's bullish. I would wait to see where this candle closes. And when it closes as bearish, I would probably wait to see if the next candle confirms that it's going to be what that pattern is going to be, because now it looks like a bullish railroad. So I will wait to see if it looks like it's bullish I could be fooled in getting in here thinking this is a bullish pattern. So again, that might be something I would just wait and see how it plays out. But again, if I was going to do it and jump in here, I could be fooled because it turn around and goes back. The next pattern that I see right next to it, this is somewhat of a morning star, I believe. But again, it doesn't pan out. It ends up turning into another bearish railroad, which bumps us down just for a minute, eventually takes that pattern down because we have probably a small evening star here. Not very large, but it's a possibility. And if I was to do anything with that, I would be looking at trying to take it down. But this doesn't even add up to be an evening star for me. It could be a harami, more of a bearish harami, changing that pattern and taking us down versus that particular railroad. Not a railroad. I would think it's more of a harami and taking the pattern down in a bearish mode. So if that was the case and I thought this was going to go bearish, I would be getting in right at the start of that candle with my stop loss up here. Okay. Where would I put a TP? And probably at this right here. Best guess. Looking at the number of touches, if I anticipate it's going to keep going, I would either move that TP or put it down to the next zone and see where it's going to. That would be an option. So looking at the patterns going down, I really don't know what those three are. Once we get down here to this zone, again, this is another railroad, I believe. You got your three soldiers going up, which denotes the pattern, the bullish pattern. When you see those three, that's a bullish pattern. We actually have a bullish railroad there. Then the next three candles are our white soldiers, which gives us our bullish pattern. So if I was to do anything here, I would say, okay, this is closed. This is a bullish railroad. I'm going to get in here because it's confirming my pattern. My stop loss is going to be down here. I'm going to ride this up to the next zone where my TP is going to be there. So looking at, let's clear this off to give us a little bit of room here. So once we hit this next zone up here, what patterns are we looking at? That pattern right there is an evening star, but it doesn't pan out. It looks like an evening star to me, but it actually does not pan out to change that direction. So the next set of candles gives you the bullish railroad, which does give us that bullish pull. So from here, I probably would be waiting to see what the next candle is. And when this candle is so indecisive, I wouldn't get in there. If I saw this one open, and I would get in here. So where would my stop loss be? My stop loss would be down here at the bottom of the wick of this little candle, because it wasn't really short. I will go ahead and take that up to the next zone, probably just to grab what I can get, and I probably would have a TP up there. It would kick me out, but I probably would. So let me go ahead and clear this off. So from here, let's look at the rest of these patterns that are here. Coming off, I'm not really worried about that. Let's go down to this one that's hitting the zone here. This is probably a morning star here. So I will be expecting that pattern to go up because it is a morning star. I will wait to see what this candle is going to do, and with it being so indecisive, I wouldn't do anything there. I would wait to see if this candle confirms our up pattern, and if so, then I would jump in here. Where would my stop loss be? At the bottom of this candle, this little indecisive, crazy hangman, doji, whatever it is. That would be where I would have my stop loss. I would take this up, maybe looking at the previous touches, not sure if it's going to penetrate that particular key line and keep going. It's so close to that, key line. So I probably would have my TP up here, thinking it's going to go up to that zone and reject. That's what I would do. So looking at the next pattern that hits this particular zone, it's just really, almost kind of indecisive. Take a look. I honestly can't determine what that pattern is. I really don't have any idea, but I'm going to go here, and this is what I would think is a morning star. It doesn't play out to be what it should, but it could. If it's not the morning star, then it is the harami pattern, and it's going to be a bearish harami that's going to turn us around and change that direction. That's where I get my bearish move. So if I thought that and it closed that way, and I said, this is going to be bearish, I'm going to wait and see if the next candle closes bearish, get in here, start my process here, jump in the trade here. My stop loss is going to be above this candle, 3 to 5 wicks. I'm going to let this ride either to, this will be my TP. Again, if my touches are 3 and I can see it, I may just put my TP down here at this next zone. See what it's going to do. The next set of candles is a railroad. It's a bullish railroad. So I will be anticipating a move up. Wait for that candle to close. When this one started closing and confirm my pattern, I would probably get in here. My stop loss will be down here. Very big wick. May not want to take it, but I probably would. And who knows? Stop loss will be down here. I would let this ride up, and depending on my touches, if I thought it was going through, thought it was ready, I probably would have a TP here, to be quite honest. I probably wouldn't anticipate that it would keep going. So TP would be up here. Let me clear this up a little bit so we got a little room. All right, cool. So the next candle, now this becomes a bearish engulfing. So I would anticipate that at some point, that next candle, I will be thinking that it would be turning bearish. So when this starts to form, I will be waiting for my confirmation. When I don't see it, I'm not doing anything. When I see the next candle jump turning bearish, then I probably would get in here. Just take this down a little bit. Your stop loss is going to be up here. Take it down. I would be thinking it's going to go here to this zone. Again, depending on the touches, if I can anticipate that it's going to go through, then my TP would be down here. So it goes down here through there and it starts the new zone. This is a evening star. I'm sorry, morning star that's formed here. It's a morning star with an up pattern. So from that point, once this closed, and I'm thinking it's a morning star, I'm waiting for this one to open to confirm my pattern up. So my stop loss is ugly, but again, it's going to be down here 3 to 5 wicks. I'm sorry, 3 to 5 pips below that wick. Ugly. But theoretically, that's where it would be if I did. Okay. I would take it up. Probably I would just take it up to that particular key line and put a TP. Not sure what it's going to be, but I would probably just take it. So the next pattern I can identify, I think this also is not a morning star, even though it gives me that up pattern. It's definitely not a morning star. Probably more of a bullish engulfing. And I would be anticipating an up pattern from this. I would say a bullish engulfing. And if I were to try to get into this trade, I will let this close. See where this is going. If this is turning bullish, I may get in here. I may get in here. Where would my stop loss be? 3 to 5 wicks down there. Big loss. But I will wait this out and just see if my pattern turns the way that I want it to go. So my TP, I will wait for this to bounce down. Looking at my touches here, I would be probably anticipating it's going to violate this particular key line. So I would actually probably have a CP up here and maybe even get kicked out. But I would probably jump back in here, watching if I'm watching it and jump back in and take it up to have a second TP 3 to 5 below this key line. All right, that's my best guess. So those are my choices for what I see here. Okay, I'm sure you guys will let me know how on point or off point I am. Thank you.